So guys, the topic of today, we're going to start with a very short prayer. I just want to thank God for bringing us together today to talk about these very important issues that we face on a daily basis. I want to thank Him for life. I want to bless Him for all the great things that He keeps doing for you and I. And as we all hope that at the end of today we are all empowered. We can see value in all of the things that we do. In Jesus' name we've prayed. Amen, 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 and amen. I'm happy. All my platforms are all alive. So, perfect. So, I'm going to start with this topic. The topic of today is, there is something called net worth. We talk a lot about net worth, all over the place. I hear a lot of people talking about net worth. The question is, what does it really mean? And we know of Ye. We all know who Ye is. This guy, there's been a lot of talk about him losing his billions in one day. The question is that even possible? So we are going to go, our objective today is not to talk about the life of Ye. Our objective is really to see what value we can pull out of this. What is net worth? How does it work? How do we measure our own personal net worth? What is it about this guy that people are talking about him so much? And how can we avert it? If this thing was to happen to me, can it happen to me? And if it happened to me, how do I avert it? So those are the things we're going to be talking about today. Who is Ye? So Ye is, we all know Ye. He was formerly called Kanye West. He's a household name not only in America but in the world. But today I'm going to talk a little bit about him, just for those who don't know him, so people get to know why we're talking about this guy and why is he the talk of the day. Because if you look at the news, if you are somebody who's been in the news, you will know that Kanye West has been the talk of the day for the past month in the United States. So we can't not notice that. We can't not look into what is in this thing that people are talking about it. And what is there from a financial perspective, from a wealth management perspective. What can we take out of it? So we're going to talk about him. He's one of the most famous rappers that has ever existed. Many regard him as a genius. I do. And the reason I regard him as a genius, it's not given for any person to create $1 billion in wealth in their existence. It's not a given. Not normal people do it. So when you see somebody who does it, then there's something special about that person. And that's why we talk about these people. He made himself a billionaire. He's a self-made billionaire. He was formerly married to a girl called Kim Kardashian. We all know who Kim Kardashian is. And we know the family. This is a family that is always in the news. So if these people are in the news, there's something about them that we can learn from and see how we can better our own selves in our wealth creation process. He has always been a controversial figure. We know that. He's been saying he's been a billionaire for so many years. So many years Kanye West has been saying that I am a billionaire. But the media, the financial market did not recognize him as a billionaire until maybe 2 years ago. And his wealth has grown over the last 2 years. He was, before all the noise, he was worth $2.5 billion. Just to put it into perspective, Oprah is worth $2.5 billion. So the more if we can talk that much about Oprah, then we should be talking about this guy. He's one, what else? I'm sorry. And then, where does his wealth come from? His wealth comes from his music labels, from his assets. It comes from his, when I say assets, it's like vehicles. He's a real estate person. He has businesses. He also owns a brand called Yeezy. And that is a brand of sneakers. It's not sneakers. It's called Yeezy. And Yeezy Yeezy came into the limelight a few years ago when he got this huge partnership with Adidas. So Adidas was the producer of these Yeezy sneakers, and these are very high-end sneakers. They took him from a net worth base of about $400 million to where he became, within 2 years, he was already known as a $2.5 billion person. And he owns Yeezy 100%. So the other thing is, but of recent, this guy who is such a genius, who has been creative, who has been able to amass this amount of wealth for himself, I don't want to say it's new, but this guy has always been very controversial. But the thing that actually brought him all the noise is because he started saying things that were considered anti-Semitic. And anti-Semitic, for those who don't know, it means you are anti-Jewish. So when you say things that are against a particular group of people, they kind of categorize you. And for Jewish people, it's being you're an anti-Semite. So he said some of the things, and initially it wasn't a buzz. So there was a noise about it. People were asking what he meant. The thing is, he kept saying it, and he kept really doubling down on it. And that called for concern. So some of the brands that were behind this guy, they started releasing him. We know of brands like Gap, we know Balenciaga, we know CAA, we know of JP Morgan Chase, we're talking of TJ Maxx. All these companies started releasing him. But the big person, the really big company with whom he had the big partnership was Adidas. Adidas had a business relationship with Ye, which was about these Yeezy sneakers. And Yeezy sneakers alone for Adidas, it's a $1.something billion business in a year. It's Adidas says, I'm sorry, it's a multi-billion-dollar business that they do. Yeezy is very high-end sneakers, and it's very high-end even for Adidas. So Ye kept, at some point, maybe he thought that because of the amount of money that are involved, he couldn't be, maybe the companies were just never going to release him, or anything was going to happen. But there was pressure coming from all over the place on these companies as well. I'm just saying this, I'm not here. We are going to be looking at this not from a political perspective or from the behavioral perspective. We're looking at it from purely an economic perspective. We're looking at it from purely a business perspective, from how we can build, how this can happen to us and how can we avoid it. So Yeezy, as I said, is high value. When Adidas announced that they were breaking ties with Kanye West, with Ye, that was a big deal, because it meant that overnight, what they said, what Forbes said, was that just the break between Kanye West and Adidas actually meant that Kanye West lost close to $2.1 billion in one day. That's a lot of money. Because after that day, the story was that Kanye West was now worth $400 million. Let me tell you, I'm going to tell you something about these numbers. When we talk about these numbers, people don't seem to see them. But $400 million. We have been talking of Lionel Messi. Lionel Messi is the most decorated football icon, soccer icon. The net worth of Lionel Messi is $400 million. $450 million. So when Kanye West becomes poor, he's like Lionel Messi. That's how big we're talking. That's how important this is. So when this server gets ties, a lot of things happen. So this guy, he basically lost the money. But let me tell you, let's talk about net worth, because net worth, most people don't know the meaning. What does it really mean when we talk about net worth? Net worth is your wealth. It is actually your wealth. It is what you own less what you owe. It is the net of everything. So basically, there are so many ways of calculating net worth. One of them is you take your expected future income, you discount it, and then at that present value, you look for the net present value of your expected future income at this point in time, and then they can tell you this is what you're worth. So every asset that you have cars, you have your job, you have Yeezy, which is it is a brand, it is a property that you own. You have all this Yeezy and whatever you own, minus everything that you owe, will give you what you have as a net worth. Net worth is not income. It's not your money in the bank. It is not income. Net worth is again, like I said, for companies, it's called net equity. That is what the net worth is. So for Ye, about 70 or 80% of his wealth was represented in one asset that he had, and that was Yeezy. That was that product that he had with whom he had a partnership with Adidas and so many other companies like Balenciaga, all these fashion companies that were selling these products. That is how he built this wealth. And let me tell you something. A product like Yeezy, what is it? It's just it is just a product. It doesn't mean anything. It is a right to a particular design, to a property that you own. It doesn't mean anything as long as you don't make money. There's no market for it. So when these companies, they advertise with this guy, then the market disappears. He still owns that right, but that right doesn't have the market. So when Adidas stopped marketing, what they said was, it is with immediate effect. What does that mean? We are not going to pay him any dime anymore. We're not going to produce any Yeezy sneakers anymore. We're not going to sell any sneakers anymore. What does that mean? It means that even the inventory that they had in stores, they had to call them back. Because all those inventory become useless. They are not selling them anymore. So immediately, for a company like Adidas, it's hundreds and hundreds of $millions that they are losing themselves. So they don't take it lightly. It is something that means a lot. It's a decision that has to be taken with a lot of seriousness. Because if you go to the market today, you are not going to see a single item of Yeezy, a single sneaker, Yeezy sneaker in any market. They have all been pulled. And when they pull them back, what do they do with them? They're useless. They're not worth anything. So that product, that right that this guy owns becomes useless. Becomes not useless. It loses its market value. It becomes just a product with no market value. So what happened to Ye? We've talked about that. The other thing is, I just said it. A product without a market value is nothing. For years, Kanye has been saying that he's worth billions. And remember, if you have known most of these guys who are billionaires and millionaires, generally they try to tell you that they are worth more than they actually are. And the reason is simple. When you want to take advantage, make use in capitalist markets, we only can, so you can be a billionaire without a dime in your bank account. Without a dime. But you have assets which can easily be converted into cash when you need them. So because these people want to have access to more money, to be able to build more equity, to build more wealth, they try to increase their net worth so that the banks will give them more access to money so that they can build more money. The more money you have, the more access to money you have. The more money you have, the more you can build wealth. And that is why you see most of these billionaires, they will tell you, we know of Donald Trump. For many years, he used to say he was worth whatever he said. I don't know if he was really worth it, but Forbes kept saying that he was worth a little bit less than that. So in a capitalist society, what do you think you're worth does not really matter. What matters what matters. I mean, it may mean something to you spiritually. It may mean something to you because your church wants you to say something or things like that. It doesn't really matter. What really matters is what the financial markets think you're worth. So when the financial markets say that Kanye West is worth 2.5 billion, that's how they see him. That's how they see him. So your ability to access cash is what we call wealth. Wealth is not the money you have in the bank. Wealth is your ability to access money. Yes. So can you lose your money in one day? Of course, yes. Let's take an example. I'll give you an example. Let's say I am a CPA and assume that all my wealth is coming from my license, from my CPA license. That's just a piece of paper. That piece of paper, if I don't make use of that piece of paper, it is nothing. It is worth nothing. So basically, if I am making, let's say I'm making $50,000 a year as a CPA, or maybe I'm making, let's say $200,000 a year as a CPA. I'm working, and because of that license, I'm able to make $200,000 a year. So if for any reason the State Board of Accountancy withdrew my license, because when I make $200,000 a year, it doesn't mean that my net worth is $200,000 a year. My net worth is what, I mean, they have some ways of discounting my future expected cash flows and netting them against any liabilities that I have and any assets that are included. Then they see my net worth is expected future earnings discounted at today's rate. So if I lost that license overnight, then I have become a zero, because that was the real thing that was producing my money. So because Kanye lost the value of that, his property, what happened was he was now dependent. I remember people are saying, oh, I'm sorry for Kanye, I'm sorry. You can't be, Kanye doesn't need you to be sorry for him. He's worth $400 million. I mean, that's what they say, that he's worth $400 million. When you have $400 million, you can easily be a billionaire again and again and again and again and again. You can easily, because you just need $100 million or a few millions or $1 million to put in your marketing, put in your development, and your business is up and running. The problem becomes, what is making it a little bit more complicated is when you attack people. It makes it a little bit complicated. But for people like Kanye, they have their way out. They are always going to get the way out. But for you and I, if they took my license away, they took that truck that you're using to make your income away, because you maybe something happened and you don't have access to it, you become almost a zero. So we take examples from this, not because we want to talk about Kanye, but because we want to bring them to our own real situation and see how it will affect us if we were to lose that. So, so that's an example that I just took out there. Can you rebuild your net worth? Of course you can. You really can. Simply create value for a product. Let me tell you, a product that you have, when people create things, those things are not, they are not worth anything until they really market those things. There's a market value. The market determines the price of what you earn. It is why they say market value. Every price is a market value. It is a market value. When you have a market value for anything, that thing has a worth. If you develop the best thing on this earth, you develop a plane or anything, and nobody is willing to buy that thing, no matter how good it is worth nothing. It is worth nothing. So it is really the ability to make money, to convert that thing to money, that gives value to that thing. So what Kanye has lost at this point is a market for Yeezy. He still owns that Yeezy brand. He owns that intellectual property right because he owns it. He can take it and decide to develop it with some other people. And that's what he's trying to do, because he's now trying to create a market in another niche. And he can build that. Maybe he can. But maybe for some of you and I, maybe we would not be able to do that because we don't have that brand. We don't have that market, we don't have that aura, we don't have that name to be able to do that. That's why we have to protect our intellectual property rights. We have to protect what is there, what creates our value. If you are a CPA and then you're doing any type of thing and you're just doing it because you want to do it to make money, know that there is a possibility that you will make the money, and there's a possibility that you will fall overnight because someone is going to come to your business and try. There's a regulator in the market who's going to look after you. It will not be the case of these other people, of people like Kanye. Kanye is a public thing. It's not some regulator who decided. It's just the market that decides to release him. But in some of our cases, it will not be just the market. It will be the authoritative body that will release, that will withdraw that license from you. And all of a sudden you become zero. But again, like any other thing in life, you can rebuild it. So one other thing I wanted to say here is, like I said before, net worth is simply what you have created. It's simply your ability to access money. That is it. Your ability to access money is a net worth. I did say at the start of this that I was not going to go into any politicking of this. I was just going to tell you what is happening, what I think, what the reality is, how we can learn from this. And as wealth builders, we are wealth builders. When we are building wealth, we should understand that our wealth is not the money we're getting now. It is not. It is not what we're getting now. It is what we are able to get in the future. It is our ability to access money. It is not just the money that we have in our bank account. I've heard so many people tell me that, oh, Kanye, maybe, oh, you have money in a bank account. If you don't, people, most of the billionaires, they don't even have income. They don't have income. I mean, I said this a few months ago in one of my videos. I said, Elon Musk did not pay taxes for many, many years. And for the first time he paid taxes, that was last year. Because where do you pay taxes? You don't pay taxes on your wealth. Most people will tell you that wealthy people, they are not paying taxes. Oh, they should be paying their fair share. They are not paying their fair share. They are not doing that. Yes, they are not paying their fair share. They are building wealth. And when you're building wealth, what pays taxes is not wealth. What pays taxes is your income. If you generate a revenue, then you pay taxes on the revenue. If you are building the value of your property, you're not paying taxes until you sell that property. Then there's a taxable event. So while these guys are building billions and billions of dollars of empire, they are leaving all the money in there. And what do? They live on debt, because debt doesn't pay taxes. Debt doesn't pay taxes. It's not because Kanye West has, or Ye as you call him, it's not because Ye is worth $2.5 billion that he has, that he should be paying a lot of taxes. $2.5 billion and he's paying zero in taxes. Why? Because he's not taking out any income. It's not until last year that Elon Musk decided personally that he wanted to pay some taxes. He actually said to people that, oh, maybe I should pay some taxes. And what did he do? He took some of those assets that had vested, his interest in the business, and then sold a little bit. And then that's the only time he paid taxes, because there was a taxable event at that time. That's when he paid taxes. So basically, I wanted to talk about these things today so that we understand the concept of wealth. We also understand what is happening in the market and the facts behind what is happening around Kanye West. Kanye West is not, if you tell me, oh, I'm sorry, you don't need to be sorry for Kanye West. He's not sorry for you. He can do anything that he wants to do. He can buy anything he wants to buy. He can access anything he wants to access. The real thing now is, and he can rebuild his business, he can rebuild his wealth far better than some of us, because this guy, factually, he is as rich as anybody on planet Earth. So, there are so many things we can talk about. You guys, I mean, I would like you guys to leave comments down, leave comments, ask some questions if you have anything, and if you have special topics that you want us to talk about, write them down in your comments. Put those questions in your comments so that we can talk about them. We are talking about money. We are talking about optimizing your wealth position. How do I optimize my wealth position? How do I grow my wealth? How do I build enough capital? How do I access other people's money in order to build money? Remember, all these billionaires we're talking about, the only reason they are making money is because they are using your money. They are using other people's money. They have a platform to be able to use other people's money to grow. And that is what we help people do. So again, if you have things, if you have questions, if you have any questions, you can contact us. All our contacts are on there. You can send your emails. You can do however you want to do it. I did say that for some people who are on the platform, there is going to be a free gift for some people on the platform. Those who are most active, you will have access to a 30 minutes conversation. We can have a free consultation for 30 minutes, which we value at $250. So I have seen a couple of people very, very active, and the winner today is Charles Moore. Charles, you can talk to me. We will have a conversation for about an hour to talk about the business that you want to build. You said something about petty cash for small business credit and things like that. We can talk about that. So you know how to contact us, and then we can talk about these things. The winner of today is Charles Moore. There's not going to be any bill for those services. We have an hour free of conversation to talk about your business. Guys, I just want to thank you. We're a little bit over our time. It's 11. Normally we spend 30 minutes. And we are exactly at 30 minutes. I'm going to take 2 minutes to answer any questions that we have. Any questions? Somebody says, help me, Charles. Charles, I already said you want it, so we have to talk. We have to talk. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on YouTube. Charles you just go on YouTube, you look for CHN.advisors, or you just type my name. You will see our platform, and then you can follow us. Follow us on Instagram. That is where we send a lot of tidbits. Instagram, you just look for Charles, and then you look for me. We are there. You look for CHN Advisors. We are there. We are there. Contact us on Instagram. Let's talk. Let's discuss your business. This is time for tax planning. Tax planning is now. Do not wait until after the 31st of December. There are, like I always tell you, the most important tax season is the planning season. It's not the preparation season. If you wait for the preparation season, you don't have a lot to do. You don't have a lot you can do. You have just a little that you can do. So guys, make sure you contact us for your tax planning. Those of you who are making a lot of business, if you're making money and you're worried about, oh, I'm going to pay taxes or things like that, we can give you a lot of tips to avoid taxes in the most legal way possible. In the most legal way. If there's anything that's illegal, we don't know how to do it. But we will give you the tips. Remember, I've told you this. The tax law is a strategic tool to build the economy. It is a tool for the government to build the economy. It is not a tool of repression. It is a tool to build the economy. So when you are doing anything, whatever you're doing to build the economy, you are contributing to the economy. 90% of the US GDP comes from small businesses. That is you and I. So the government has put in place certain incentives in the tax law so that we are able to take advantage of. The only reason billionaires and millionaires are taking advantage of it is because they do something called leverage. They use the people they are supposed to use to do these things for them. We are avoiding those things that will give us value. Let's make sure we take advantage of all of these things. I want to thank you guys. I saw a very, very impressive turnout today. We've been absent for 2 weeks and it was like a year for me. We will make sure we don't miss any of these episodes anymore. Thank you guys. I really, really appreciate you. Thank you. And let's have an excellent, excellent rest of our week. See you on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. If you have any topics that you wanted to talk about, just push them on the platform and we'll talk about those topics. Thank you, and you have an excellent rest of your day. Bye-bye.